Okay, my name is Jonathan Henry, and this is for my COMT 440 class. Today I'm going to be talking about something really important with the summer coming on, how to tie a fishing lure onto a fishing line. So before we get started, it's some obvious things that you're going to need. There's a lure, a fishing line with the line already run all the way through the pole, because once you hook the lure to the line, it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to feed the lure all the way through all the loops on your fishing pole. So you want to start with all the line run through the pole, and then you're also going to need some type of a cutting utensil. I like to use a pair of fingernail clippers, but you can use a knife or whatever suits your fancy. So we're going to start with the lure in one hand and the line in the other. On the end of the lure, you're going to notice there's a little round loop created by the metal of the lure. We're going to take the end of the fishing line and feed it right through that hole. I'm going to feed about 2.5 to 3.5 inches of line through there. The more line I feed through, the easier it's going to be for me to grab and manipulate it. And this is a bit challenging the first time you do it, so patience is the key. And to make it easier, give yourself a fair amount of line to work with. So I'm going to come off the lure about 3/4 to a full inch off it, and then I'm just going to twist the lure. I'm just going to twist it and twist that line up on top of itself. Maybe about a dozen times, not quite. It's not terribly important to get exactly a dozen, but you want there to be only a small little loop at the end of your lure. So now we have the lure loop, and now we have a line, the line loop. So both loops are important here. So now I'm going to hand off the lure to my other hand. I'm going to pinch it with my index and middle finger, and I'm going to come and grab the end of the line so that we can finish the knot. So basically, you're going to take this and you're going to feed it through both loops. You want to go through the lure loop and through the line loop together at the same time. Feed it all the way through, and then when you get that done, you're going to double it back, and instead of going back through the lure loop, you're just going to skip the lure loop and go back through the line loop that you've already made. Again, this is a bit of a trick, but patience is the key. Once you get it down, it's not that difficult, especially to do it when you're out on the river. It just takes a little bit of practice. So as soon as I got that fed through, pardon me, as soon as you get that fed through, you're just going to take it and grab it and pull. And it's all going to pull together nice and tight. Then you're going to grab the lure and pull on the head of your line. Just very tight like that. This is a cinch knot. It's very important to use a cinch knot when you're fishing, because a cinch knot will get tighter the more a fish jerks on the line. If you use some other type of a knot that gets loose, that big fish that you want is going to get away. So this is really important to use any type of a cinch knot, and this is just one of many. But it's the one that I like to use because it's very simple and very easy to understand, and it's very effective. Once you're at this point, you can just take your cutting utensil and trim off the end of the line that you don't want. You want to leave just a little bit. I could get into specifics about saying leaving like a millimeter or two. Instead, whatever the width of your lure knot is, that's about the width, the length of line that you want to leave onto your lure line. You're just going to clip that off. And once you've got that done, you're ready to fish.